lanterns flicker, baby, meet you there. Neon lights blazing in the summer air. Cherry red leather got the classic gleam. Greased hair back, we're living the dream. Dashboard lights reflecting off her eyes. Under the stars, feeling so alive. Living up, race till the moon glows bright. Tires squeal, cheating on the edge of night. My girl laughing, this is our time. Heartbeat fast in this drag race ride. Hail, hamburgers, milkshakes, jukebox blues. Electric guitar playing lost in the cues. A harmonica wailing, breaking the silence. Love and speed and perfect alliance. Hail, cherry red leather got the classic gleam. Greased hair back, we're living the dream. Cherry red leather got the classic gleam. Neon lights blazing in the dream. Cherry red leather got that classic gleam. Greased hair back, we're living the dream. Cherry red leather got the classic gleam. Neon lights blazing in the dream. Rev it up, race till the moon glows bright. Tires squeal, cheating on the edge of night. My girl laughing, this is our time. Heartbeat fast in this drag race ride. Electric guitar playing lost in the cue. A harmonica wailing, breaking the silence. Love and speed and perfect alliance. I'm the perfectly fast in this drag race ride.
Driving up with buzzing neon light. My girl by my side feels right. Hot rods roaring, engines tight. Saturday night, shining bright. Rolling through the diner real slow. Grease on our jean shoes glow. Hamburgers and shakes to go. V8 dreams, rhythm flow. Saturday night, drag queen race. Tires screeching, twisting space. Wind roars across our face. Boundless speed, hearts embrace. Combed out bumpers glisten bright. Street lights shadowed blues at night. Radios rocking, stars in sight. Gonna win this fight tonight. Rolled out bumpers glisten bright. Street lights, shadows, blues unite. Radios rocking, stars in sight. Gonna win this fight tonight. Roll to the diner real slow. Grease on our jean shoes glow. Hamburgers and shakes to go. V8 dreams, rhythm flow. Saturday night, drag we race. Tires screeching, twisting space. Wind roars across our face. Boundless speed, hearts embrace. Boundless speed, hearts embrace. On the blacktop road, Asian nights we pray for more. Driving lights and the jukebox tune. Popped up cars under a crescent moon. My girl in the front seat winks. Cotton candy and sweet soda drink. Hot rods parked in a crooked line. Gasoline cream running out of time. Saturday nights flame that won't die. Gas pedal down, don't ask why. Engines rumble in a steel fight. Clouds of smoke, we meet the night. Big hair filled with rock and blues. Final spins, we ain't got no rules. Drag race dreams, long straight road. Light flashes, thunder low. Oh, my girl in the front seat winks. Cotton candy and sweet soda drink. My girl in the front seat winks. Hopped up cars under crescent moon. My girl in the front seat winks. Cotton candy and sweet soda drink. My girl
up cars under a crescent. Cotton candy and sweet soda drinks. Cotton candy and sweet soda drinks. Hopped up cars under crescent moon. My girl in the front seat winks. Cotton candy and sweet soda drinks. Cotton candy and sweet soda drinks. Hopped up cars on an hour at a time. Saturday nights a flame that won't die. Gas pedal down, don't ask why. Engines rumble in a steel fight. Clouds of smoke we meet the night. Thick air filled with rock and booze. Final spins, we ain't got no rules. Drag race dreams, long straight road. Clouds of smoke, we meet the night. Thick air filled with rock and blues. Final spins, we ain't got no rules. Drag race spins, we ain't got no rules. Drag race spins, we ain't got no rules. Drag race dreams, long straight road. Like clouds of smoke, we meet the night. Wheels each a wild beast. My girl's laughter never ceased. Flashing lights, bird speed abound. Cheering crowd makes a roaring sound. Harmonica screams in the night sky. Guitars twang, giving it a try. Drumming hearts under sparkling air. We live fast without a care.
The neon skies, my girl by my side with those dreamy eyes. Driving flicks and popcorn flies. Moonlight beams on a secret tie. Hot rod engines, they scream and roar. Rubber burns on that asphalt floor. Holding tight, she wants more. Speed and love forevermore. Saturday nights, the world feels small. The night until last call. Love and danger, hear the engines call. Spinning wheels until the fall. Hamburgers, fries, and cherry pies. Sunset paints our own skies. Radio tunes and whispered lies. Warm embrace where our love lies. Racing hearts under the stars. Dreams of highways and guitars. Life's a highway, no end in sight. Hold on, baby, it's a wild ride. Tires screech in the cool night air. Young and restless, without a care. Drag strip winners, life's unfair. Kissing her under the moon's glare. The girl beside me, my hot rod's drive. The driving screens, we're feeling so free. Gonna live forever in this memory. Greased hair, slick chrome shines. Drag race days with ribbon lines. Windows down, wind in her hair. Loving every moment without a care. If engines loud through the night. Under stars, we're burning bright. Racing hearts in the moonlight beam. Chasing down our own wild dream. Fries, two shakes on the side, laughing loud in this joyride. Harmonica wails from radio's twist, sealed with a lipstick kiss. Smoking rubber on asphalt street, our love's a drag race heartbeat. Crashing waves of passion fire in this driving we never tire. Railroad engines loud through the night, under stars we're burning bright. Racing hearts in the moonlight beam.
chasing down our own wild dreams. Hamburgers, fries, two shakes on the side, laughing loud in this joyride. I'm on at the wheels from radio's twist, sealed with a lipstick kiss. Smoking rubber on asphalt street, our love's a drag race heartbeat. Crashing waves of passion fire, in this drive-in we never tire. Railroad engines loud through the night, under stars we're burning bright. Racing hearts in the moonlight beam, chasing down our own wild dreams.
Driving out of the teenage dream. Saturday nights with my queen. Neon signs and movie screen. Leather jacket, jukebox tunes. Old man Chevy under the moon. Crow shining, we'll be there soon. Pink slipper racing like a monsoon. Rag racing on a dead-end street. Heartbeats pounding in the heat. My girl, she's my sweet defeat. Driving nights can't be beat. Hamburgers and milkshake love, radio blasting from above. Her smile fits me like a glove. Under stars we rise above. Engine roars, we take the lead. Harmonica's just what we need. Victory smoke, high speed. Saturday night, our time indeed. Drag racing on a dead-end street. Heartbeats pounding in the heat. My girl, she's my sweet defeat. Driving nights can't be beat. And milkshake love, radio blasting from above. Her smile fits me like a glove. Under stars we rise above. Every engine roars, we take the lead. Harmonica's just what we need. Victory smoke, high speed. Saturday night, our time indeed. Drag racing on a dead-end street. Heartbeats pounding in the heat. My girl, she's my sweet defeat. Driving nights can't be beat. Driving in flicker lights cut through dust.
The police can restore order or aren't allowed to by Democratic mayors. The National Guard must be called out.
Here's some bad people. They look in your face and they spit right in your face. They're animals. These are paid troublemakers. They're agitators. These are paid insurrectionists or agitators or troublemakers. You can call it whatever you want.
Hey boys, they're closed for the day.
We're gonna call it the San.
What's that, son?
What's he trying to say?
I can't understand a word you're saying.
We can't understand you.
You getting any of
It's
this?
those masks.
Take off the damn masks. We can't hear you.
Hell, it's damn near 100 out. You're gonna make yourselves pop nuts.
Pop nuts? You mean heat stroke?
No, I mean pop nuts. It's when your nuts get so hot they pop like popcorn, only it's pop nuts. It's true. It happened to my cousin Luke.
I swear to God.
I said, stay seated, sirs, and don't move.
Does it look like we're ever not seated?
We haven't moved in 20 years. Ain't gonna start now.
Don't sass me.
No, I'll sass whatever I goddamn please. Who the hell you think you are?
What's that?
I know who I am.
But no-
I'm Sassy Pants.
I'm-
I am the sasser. You are the sassy. I'll sass you like the
need-
Corey sassed those teenage vampires. I'll sass you like Katya sassed Alaska. I'll sass you like Kendrick sassed Drake. Who the hell you think you are?
Ice. We're ice.
Oh, right, Jesus.
Sir, I apologize for the sass. Must be the heat. It's popping nuts out here. Minnie's been waiting for you all morning. The damn fridge went down and she's been in there for hours with a bag of ice and a fan trying to keep the salmon from turning. Singing some kind of witchy incantations to ward off heat spirits, I guess.
Well, I don't blame her for incantating. What with the price of salmon these days?
Well, she wouldn't have to rely on witchcraft if these damn ice deliveries showed up on time.
No, you don't understand. We're ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Oh, wow. Are the Italians back?
The Baguettis left town in 98, you know that.
Yeah, it's sometimes I wake up at night and I still hear that damn music playing again.
So back in what, 95, I think? These Italians took over the olive orchard on Dry Creek Road, you know, just up the hill from the Black Widow Ranch. Well, they brought in all their cousins from the old country, young men, really, really gorgeous, these guys, harvesting olives with no shirts on, glistening muscles.
Smoking those damn tiny cigarettes, playing that Italian music full volume.
Good-looking lads, though.
Yeah, tell me about it. Every damn lady in the county suddenly had to go the long way into town, up Dry Creek Road real slow like.
Including Butch's ex-wife, Diane. Only she didn't drive back.
Goddamn Vincenzo!
Well, could you blame her? 20 years her junior. Body like a damn jaguar.
We got a tip that there were illegal immigrants working here.
Canadians?
Mexicans, idiot.
Mexicans? Here?
You know Mexico's like on the other side of the country, right? Canada, on the other hand, is just right up that way about 6 hours. Them's you gotta watch out for, sneaky bastards. They look just like you and me.
Mexican immigrants are everywhere in the country, and they're dangerous.
Dangerous? Well, I don't know about that.
I met some Mexicans once. Nice fellas. I was stationed in San Diego, and we had a 3-day furlough, and me and the boys went down to Tijuana and met these guys, and we drank tequila all day, and then they taught us how to surf.
Wait, you surfed?
Of course not. I mostly drowned. I was technically dead when this guy Carlos resuscitated me on the beach, and I re-entered this mortal coil puking Tijuana saltwater and tequila, and I swore I would never mess with Mother Ocean ever again. I owe that man my life. Afterwards, they took us to a donkey show.
You went to a donkey show? What was that like?
It was amazing. This donkey could juggle, walk a tightrope, and did a stage production of Don Quixote, and he played Quixote.
Huh. Damn. Well, who played the donkey?
Well, it's all a little fuzzy, the tequila and near-death experience and all, but I do remember some pretty lady with no clothes on, and not much after that.
Okay, all right, step aside. We're going in.
But you told us to sit and not move.
You understand stepping aside while sitting is more a young man's game? I said, do you understand stepping aside while sitting is more of a young man's gag? God damn it, you should have listened. It landed better the first time.
Step aside, or we will place you under arrest.
What? Are you a cop? I don't think you can do that.
Well, they can't. He's basically a civilian threatening to kidnap us. They don't, Hey, where's your warrant anyway? Do they give you warrants? That seems like a lot of responsibility for a mall cop.
We're not mall cops.
Strip mall cops?
We are employed by the federal government to apprehend illegal immigrants and deport them to...
Well, that seems like a lot of responsibility for a strip mall cop.
And in between chasing down thieves at the dollar store?
Yelling at kids skateboarding behind the Olive Garden.
That's it. You're coming with me.
Where are we going? We walking there?
No, in our...
Yeah, good luck with that. I don't think anyone's going anywhere.
What in damn hell?
Raccoons.
Yeah, well, the heat makes them crazy. You never know what they're gonna do. Rob a bank, strip a car, steal your wallet. See, I told you.
Beware of pop nuts. It's a real thing. Welcome to ViperTV Live. How's it going out there in Radio Land? Good to see everybody. Yeah, gang, he ain't socialized. I love Hello Beautiful. Such a great fucking series. So what's up? How's it going out there? Oh my god. I got some stuff to show you today. Oh, Butch and Larry, they never fail. Good to see everybody. So let's go ahead and get on with the business. One thing I was not expecting. We're going to have to go into this clip. One thing I was not expecting, and actually I'm not liking the fact that this year in 2025, I'm agreeing with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm agreeing with people like Chris Christie. I'm agreeing with people like Nick fucking Fuentes. Stay with me because we're going to go into Mordor, but I'll bring you back to the Shire, I promise. Get a load of this shit.
Peter Thiel, the FBI informant and CIA contractor, Elon Musk, the defense contractor and PayPal mafia member with Peter Thiel, close confidant of David Sachs, and J.D. Vance, who brokered the David Sachs fundraiser with Silicon Valley and Trump, mentored by Peter Thiel, mentored by David Frum, who worked for Bill Kristol with Tucker Carlson. Thiel, Musk, and Tucker lobbied Trump to pick Vance, and they said, if you don't, the CIA will kill you. Who's the CIA? Who does the CIA, NSA, FBI, DHS, who do they all contract with? Palantir, founded by Peter.
Okay. Yeah, you see what I mean? Did you expect to agree with Nick Fuentes about fucking Palantir of all things? Now, I know that the whole America First crowd has always been about their whole, I suppose, privacy, their whole, the big government, you know, shouldn't track us 1984 style, whereas the 2A bros are becoming ICE. But it's so amazing seeing the groypers of all people screaming about Palantir. Like, is 2025 the year that the Epstein files and Palantir actually create a semblance of bipartisanship? I mean, a semblance, because there's still some vile fucking people I do not want to be aligning myself with, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And when it comes to Peter Thiel, by the way, did you know that Peter Thiel is an anagram for the reptile? Yeah, take a look.
Peter Thiel and Alex Karp and Joe Lonsdale, Israel First Jews, that after October 7th flew their board to Israel and provided them with facial recognition technology to murder Palestinians.
By the way, I'm 100% convinced, and you can't convince me otherwise, that October 7th was completely planned, that Bibi was paid to look the other way because they've just admitted that they want a full takeover of Gaza. So therefore, why would he not avoid this situation when it very successfully split the left in two and also ensured that Trump got put in office, thus ensuring that the casinos could be built in Gaza according to Jared Kushner's waterfront plans?
J.D. Vance, who upon becoming the VP nominee in his first interview said, we're going to bomb Iran, who went to the Quincy Institute and said, we need a pro-Israel spin on America First. Tucker, who interviewed Vance 46 times on his show, Vance hired his son. Vance's Rockbridge Network was the spawning point of 1789 Capital, founded by Rebecca Mercer and Claire Monster Chris Buskirk, which gave Tucker $15 million. Rebecca Mercer funded Steve Bannon at Breitbart that spawned Milo Yiannopoulos' career. And Rebecca Mercer hand-selected George Farmer, Candace Owens' husband, to run Parler in 2021.
As he's saying all this, I'm making the exact same connections. There's nothing that he's said that I'm like, no, that's false. I don't know why Nick is deciding to spill all this tea, but he's been keeping it in his pocket. You can tell.
This is why they want me dead. Who's the Fed? Who's the Fed here? Because I brought all the receipts.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little unnerving, like I said, that I'm actually agreeing with Nick Fuentes, but dude's got a point. I mean, he's literally making all of the connections right there. And this has been a very strange year. I find myself having to not only agree with, but feel like when it comes to fighting certain things that I actually can stand 10 toes down right beside people that are against Palantir. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, because like the technology that can be used is terrifying. Not only have I spoken with veterans that have used this technology, but they're actively using it in Gaza as we speak in order to hunt down Palestinians. The last person I thought that would bring all this to light would be Nick Fuentes, but man, let's let them cook.
These people that have been taking checks from Fox News, Turning Point USA, Dennis Prager, they're just not ready for this. They're not ready that we're in the Groyper generation. Because all this time, these past 8 years, what do you think I've been doing? Your attacks, your slander, your persecution, I have only been growing stronger. Don't you get it?
Well, I mean, he does, have the initial roots of being a typical conservative grifter. So, a leopard can't change its spots. So, of course, he's going to whine about being a victim. That's just kind of on brand for him. But if he's out here spilling this kind of tea, then rage on. I'll listen. I'll still make fun of you, but keep spilling the tea.
I have only been gathering strength. 8 years.
Does he think he's Darth
lied about,
Sidious?
censored, attacked, persecuted. Well, you were at parties getting millions of dollars for doing bullshit. Your show is ass, and you're full of shit, and you're retarded. And that is why
Okay, aside from the R slur being used, once more, yeah, I agree with everything that he just said.
I'm not just coming for Rumble. I'm not just coming for Twitter. I'm coming for all of it. I'm coming for all of it. You thought you'd bring me on the show and press me about Dave Smith? You don't know who the fuck you're dealing with. You let in a fucking dragon, bitch. Imagine shooting a man with this last bullet, which actually happened to me. They came.
They came. No, it was one person, because you thought you were going to have the brilliant idea of saying, your body, my choice. And, well, people don't like when people say that. And the fact that you're having to hide with your mom in her basement, which is real. Go ahead and Google it. That happened. So I realized that you wanted to play victim. That's just kind of part of the dogma.
Came to my house. They tried to kill me. I'm still here.
In your mom's
I'm
basement.
still at this house. You
In your
know
mom's
where to
house.
find me. Bitch. You tried shooting me with your last bullet, and I stand there, unfazed. So bring it on.
No, I wouldn't say you were unfazed though, Nick. Like you got pretty pretty up in your feelings last I checked, because you had to end up going to court because you pushed somebody off of your steps. Oh my God, it's absolutely astounding. Hey, if they're going to spill this kind of tea and be against the fight against Palantir with us, I can deal with that. Obviously, we're going to have our political differences, and we're not going to tolerate any of this, the bigotry that comes from the Groyper camp. We're not going to put that under our big umbrella. But if he's gonna start a war against Palantir with all the information that he knows, hey, I'm here for it, because Palantir is an absolutely terrifying concept. And like, what kind of person names what it is that they're doing after the spy device that was used in Lord of the Rings by Saruman to be able to communicate with Sauron? Yeah, I'm that kind of nerd, by the way. It's almost like it's too on point, because if you're gonna, I suppose, spy on everybody, why not give it a name that everybody can look at and go, oh no, that's some fucking evil shit right there. You decided to choose to name your company after that. There's probably, you're probably not up to any kind of good. But hey, man, like I said, I'm all about it if that's what they want to rage on right now, because they're also, I gotta also admit, they're raging pretty hard over the whole Gavin Newsom trolling. I mean, to the point where even in the dark webs, they're just triggered. And I think the thing that's triggering them the most is because they're realizing that this is how ridiculous and insane Donald Trump has been on his social media platforms. Before it was even Truth Social, there was Twitter. And, I mean, we got classics like Covfefe. So what are they doing? All they're doing is mirroring the exact style. And there's either a willing cognitive dissonance to be able to be like, Newsom is being so unprofessional and he shouldn't be using social media in this way, when they know that it's an exact mirror of Trump. So I'm loving it, because the more that they say that Newsom is being unprofessional, the more they're just, honest to God, just holding a flashlight to themselves, a spotlight even, fuck, and being like, yeah, well, we've supported this no problem, and it's fine when Trump does it, but we just can't have it when other people do it. And I absolutely love it, because for once, and I do mean for once, the left we got a hold of the narrative, which is something that you never, ever, ever see anymore. But it's catching. It's catching. The Achilles heel has been shown, so, seeing hilarious AI-generated memes of Gavin Newsom wearing like a red MAGA hat that says "Make Melania Come Again." It's just too easy. You're watching ViperTV. Stick around.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
If you're innocent, why are you taking the 5th Amendment?
What about it, MAGA? You gonna take this? Jeffrey Epstein takes the 5th about Donald Trump, and he won't release the Epstein files. He thinks you're sheep. Stupid sheep. This is it. This is the moment you have to decide if hiding the secrets of a giant pedophile criminal enterprise is really who you are. Demand the release of the Epstein files, or be a sheep. Your choice, MAGA.
It's up to you, because they're saying that they're releasing some of the files at the end of this week. James Comer said it, so I'm sure they've had plenty of time to redact. No matter what they release, it's going to be suspect, because there's missing footage from the camera. There's editing being done. I mean, you can literally see the editor's panel at the 11 hour and 20 minute mark. You can literally see the editor's panel. I'm an editor myself. I wouldn't even leave that on there. So that lets you know what kind of incompetent clowns we're dealing with. We're literally using our tax money to pay for the most incompetent cover-up in history. And, well, luckily, the base, seems to be waking up a little bit about it. I'm telling you, it's, there are places that I normally don't go for not only my news, but also for political commentary, and not just with Nick Fuentes, but I saw this was sent to me. This is an actual clip from, of all places, MSNBC, and they broke down the full-on Epstein timeline. Check it out.
This week, President Trump is spotlighting his war diplomacy while the Republican Congress presses on with its Epstein probe, a partial rebuke to Trump's demands to drop the issue. Congress deposing Trump Attorney General Barr, who was in charge when Epstein died in custody. And tonight, we actually start our program with a new Beat special report for you, tracing the sordid path of crimes, investigations, corruption, deals with government insiders, often Republicans, the suspicious death of Epstein in custody of the Trump administration's first term, the secretive responses we've been seeing for years across these issues. We're going to show you the new Beat timeline that we've created, reporting for the first time tonight, raising fresh questions for Trump and other government officials. We are going to explain this, what you see here, coming up in this first segment of the show. A timeline that actually will make more sense, we think, when you recall the facts. How Epstein, first presented as an elite, wealthy person with ties to other important people, but then his whole facade showed sudden cracks when local police investigated a report of Epstein molesting a 14-year-old, leading to government plans to charge him, which were then watered.
You know, one thing that I want to point out when it's showing where his residence was is that his house was literally connected to Howard Lutnick, who's got, he's in every single press conference that Trump is in. And not only when he talks is he, talks like a complete sycophant, but he also talks like he's somebody's handler. And you can see when when Trump was making that announcement where he brought the CEO of Apple in, you could see Howard Lutnick standing there behind, watching and smiling, and he never takes his eyes off of him. I'm damn sure that Howard Lutnick is one of Trump's handlers because he has the goods. Because, I mean, you don't live right next to Jeffrey Epstein and then also end up in the administration just out of coincidence.
Watered down into a lesser charge under a secret deal with a Republican appointee, Alex Acosta.
Jeffrey Epstein went to jail just before 10 this morning. He pleaded guilty in open court.
There is no argument that Epstein got an extraordinary break. A backroom deal, some have described it.
What was so important to the government that sex crimes described in this agreement were treated so lightly?
Because of apparently some very high-powered attorneys, they've treated Mr. Epstein much differently.
Very differently. The Bush prosecutor who did that largely let the co-conspirators that were under investigation go and Epstein off the hook with a brief sentence. That prosecutor, later promoted by Trump, we'll get to that, but the evasion of accountability there under public pressure was a problem. And so as the
you know, the fact that it was a Republican that helped to get him his deal like that just once more adds to the pedocon theory. If you missed that episode, that was yesterday's.
Pressure built. Later, career prosecutors in DOJ, one of whom who was later fired by Trump, then brought the case during Trump's first term, which changed everything. And then we had Epstein suddenly dying in federal custody.
NBC News has learned that disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein is dead.
His body in that van you see there, seen heading for the medical examiner's office.
Found dead by apparent suicide in his jail cell.
Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys questioning whether his death was a suicide.
Whatever happened with Jeffrey Epstein in prison back in mid-July still has not been fully explained.
That death has spurred more questions and theories than just about anything in this case. And
one of my big things when it comes to the conspiracy portion of it is that Bill Barr's father hired Jeffrey Epstein to teach math, and Jeffrey Epstein didn't have any qualifications to teach math. That's something to think about.
Many of the questions are valid. The Trump DOJ was in charge. Everyone knew Epstein was a notorious high-profile defendant, and yet he died. The Trump DOJ prison, their system there, lost the key video footage of Epstein's cell door. It's never been recovered. They also oversaw other blatant failures, compounded by more secrecy from the top, all the way up to Trump. And then Trump AG Barr told everyone to take his word that Epstein had just killed himself. That didn't silence the questions that built as years went on, and Trump campaigned for his second term, basically running against his own Epstein secrecy in his first term.
That's a really big thing that luckily we have going for us, is that it was him campaigning on it. Now all of a sudden, because he's all over it, he says that it's a hoax, that it's a Democrat hoax. Do you know he fucking called the victims Democrats? He's that desperate to deflect from his own presence in all of that material that he not only called it a hoax, but pretty much said that the victims were hoaxsters.
AG Barr's successor vowed to fix the Trump DOJ's own past secrecy.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
This is not the breaking news that you would expect.
The FBI and Justice Department say they've found no credible evidence of an incriminating client list.
Now, it's really funny, though, because, you know, people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, have made their entire bag off of the Epstein conspiracies. Time comes for them to put up or shut up, All of a sudden, nothing's there. Nothing's there, but yet also it was on Pam Bondi's desk. Also, Dan Bongino no longer is in the position that he was in. Did you know that? He's being replaced.
Everybody knows what came next. Trump DOJ breaking its vow to release more material, then trying to distract by releasing, after the memo there, an alternative hallway video, which has been criticized, but of course wasn't the original correct video that remains missing. All of that stoking the more recent questions we've heard this year.
That means if there's an actual official video that was altered, where is it? They're not going to be able to hide that because it's been proven that it's been altered. So therefore, where's the original? People are going to keep asking that question no matter what you say. You've lied so many times and your stories have twisted so many times that no matter what you say, there's no credibility. You blew it out of the water already. You can't say that we're going to give you unedited footage and then give you edited footage.
Here, Trump's Epstein summer with blowback from the MAGA base, elected Republicans, Democrats, victims advocates. So now, let's apply the full facts so that we can look at these questions. I'm going to show you a timeline here and what we are learning in this case. We're going to look at the recent secrecy, the failures by the Trump administration, why this case has been a failure for justice and governance and transparency, and the history helps reveal links to the current issues, the questions facing Trump as president and as a civilian, because before he was president, he had a sordid history with Epstein. And when we're done walking you through this timeline, you're going to see why so many questions endure to officials linked to Trump, to officials carrying out his priorities at DOJ, all of which has drawn this backlash.
The current DOJ under Pam Bondi is covering up crimes, very serious crimes.
Last week, she put out a 2-page memo effectively declaring the Epstein case closed, which is convenient given the speculation that Trump might be in the so-called client list.
3 times I voted for this man. This is by far the biggest fumble of the administration they've had thus far.
It's indefensible. It's indefensible that the answers.
The funny thing is we have to play along with them playing stupid and giving all of these reasons and all of these excuses when I think it was Jordan Klepper that said it best. He called it Occam's big fucking machete, instead of Occam's razor, as in the simplest answer is usually the correct one, the most correlated one. Well, this is so blatantly obvious that there's no way to look around this unless you're just using complete cognitive dissonance, because one thing that MAGA is having a hard time with right now is also with this whole mockery thing is they can't gaslight themselves, so they're crashing out. Lean into it.
Aren't there when so much was promised.
He and his administration keep acting like they've got something to hide.
The Epstein case has many details and open questions. Our timeline today focuses on the key facts and developments, starting in March 2005, when local police in Palm Beach, Florida, began a probe into Epstein, investigating reports of abusing victims as young as 14. The local case led to Epstein's indictment for a single count of soliciting prostitution in 2006, not the more serious alleged conduct. In fact, the lead detective in the Palm Beach office referred the case to the FBI to look at the more serious crimes, and those federal investigators began probing allegations. In 2008, Epstein reached a deal with the Bush administration's federal prosecutors to take that local Florida conviction for soliciting prostitution with an adult and a minor. Epstein.
So the Bush administration's prosecutors are the ones who busted down his charges from that extremely disgusting crime down to just soliciting. Pedicon theory.
Got a lenient, short prison sentence and an unusual agreement that the Bush DOJ would not prosecute Epstein further, or 4 of his co-conspirators, or any others. Bush DOJ prosecutors also agreed to keep the deal secret and not inform Epstein's victims about it. A judge later found the Bush DOJ secrecy deal was illegal, violating those victims.
That's one thing about this that's really, really been pissing me off, is just the dismissal of the victims. Not only does MAGA just have it in them to instantly not believe women just in general when it comes to coming forth with claims of abuse, but it's society in general. Why do you think that so many people, when they're victims of that kind of thing, they don't come forward? Because they're going to blame the victim first. It's just the way American society is. And I hate to say it, but the media landscape also, they won't ask further questions. It's really disgusting in the way that the people who actually have the most evidence are being shut out. And now Trump's saying they're part of a hoax and calling them Democrats. Tells you everything you need to know, really.
Rights. So the facts show from the start, Epstein got this unusual protection from the government in this period, a Republican administration, Bush. And Epstein was a rich, powerful figure. He had ties to people in business and politics. He hired a Republican-connected lawyer, former independent counsel Ken Starr, and served just 1 year in that deal. Now,
have we noticed Republican administration, Republican lawyer is are you not seeing the connections? I hate to be the person that consistently repeats, but like I said, I just follow the data and I just follow the facts.
Another 9 years went by, and then the Miami Herald reported an Epstein expose on the allegations of his conduct and that Bush-era prosecutor who cut the sweetheart deal. That investigative report gained traction, partly because of a tie to Trump, who promoted the very prosecutor, Alex Acosta, to his cabinet. The headline at the time hammering how a now Trump official gave a serial sex abuser the deal of a lifetime. And that public pressure from the...
Yeah, putting Alex Acosta in the cabinet, that's not suspicious at all. Also, if you noticed in the entire list of people that Congress has subpoenaed, Alex Acosta is not on that list. Go take a look. They got the Clintons on there. I don't really care about the Clintons. If they did something wrong, let them burn. But why isn't Alex Acosta on that subpoena list?
The Herald drove a new federal probe. Internal DOJ reviews would show Acosta had poor judgment in the case, and that the blanket immunity offers for Epstein and others were just indefensible, leading to a fairly swift federal indictment of Epstein on far more serious sex trafficking charges. And the pressure drove the original prosecutor Trump had promoted, Acosta, to resign around this time. And in a key decision, a judge denied Epstein bail, forcing him to be incarcerated before any trial. It was just over a month later, August 2019, when Epstein was found dead in his cell. The situation was suspicious. Officials there broke several protocols. Epstein was a high-profile detainee. He'd been placed on suicide watch, which was then quickly lifted. Guards failed to do required inspections the very night of his death. And a lot of questions were hanging over all of this. So let's go even further ahead, all the way up to 2019 and what happened after that. Because key videos went missing. Trump Attorney General Barr even admitting the prison made mistakes then, but claiming that he personally reviewed prison video which showed no one entering the cell. And with Epstein dead, prosecutors turned to a co-conspirator who might have benefited from that original.
All right, so Bill Barr saw the original tapes. So under oath, can he not be shown the edited tapes and say, is this the same footage that you saw? when being deposed by Congress, why? I mean, it's completely valid. Especially, he has a lot to hide, because what I mentioned with his father's connection with Epstein earlier.
Florida case being shut down, what I told you about. They went ahead and indicted Ghislaine Maxwell for helping Epstein's sex trafficking, a case brought by a career prosecutor, Maureen Comey, daughter of former FBI Director Comey. And her work continued on when the Biden administration took over. She won Maxwell's conviction and this 20-year prison sentence.
Now, do you find it suspicious that Maureen Comey was just fired by the Trump administration? Could it be that she just knows a little too much and they can't have that getting out? What's to stop her from going to the media with all the information that she has? Or Democrats subpoenaing her? I'm sure she'd be an amazing witness.
Then, during the 2024 campaign, the questions and theories about Epstein's crimes and special treatment were heating up on the right. It was a problem for Trump, given that he promoted the original prosecutor, that he oversaw the DOJ, which failed to answer questions or have transparency about whatever happened in that prison cell. So Trump tried to go on offense, vowing to declassify and release Epstein's files. And his attorney general took over that message and advanced it in office, now infamously claiming that she had the client list on her desk, which she later contradicted, because shortly after, the DOJ released an alternate video from the prison. But the key video that shows Epstein's cell door is either lost or hidden. It's never been released. And Bondi released the now infamous memo that said they wouldn't provide any other Epstein documents.
But Bill Barr saw the original. So, like I said, it exists. I think we need to keep inquiring until the original video is released. If there's nothing to hide, why are they hiding it?
So Bondi went from saying there was a client list to there wasn't. She was lying then or lying now. The DOJ memo then said there was no other Epstein info that was going to be released, which ignited that firestorm of criticism we all lived through. And given the broken vows, that couldn't hold. Trump soon contradicted his own DOJ's memo and saying he would try to get grand jury material released, but those are limited transcripts. A lot of the big Epstein information is in the Trump DOJ. They could release it anytime. One judge has denied this. And as the Trump administration's contradicting claims drew more...
And that judge that denied it straight up said, you want to use this as a false premise instead of actually releasing the full files. This is a diversionary tactic. And he saw right through it, and he pretty much made jurisprudence on it, and it's fantastic. They're hiding something, and you know, it's nice for a judge to say, I know what you're doing and I'm not going to be complicit in it.
Or heat on its secrecy, the DOJ then sent his former Trump criminal defense attorney to interview Maxwell in prison and then transferred her to a better prison, an apparent reward for the one person doing any time for Epstein's indicted federal crimes. In July, Trump's DOJ also fired the top prosecutor who won the...
Now, mind you, for her to get transferred to that prison had to take the government to override every single protocol prior, because the rules were that people that committed horrific sex crimes like Ghislaine Maxwell don't get to go to Club Fed. So she obviously said something or was given information that the regime is going to want out there in public to exonerate them and to point the fingers at their political enemies. This is the most incompetent cover-up in history.
The case against Maxwell, Comey, an unusual ousting of a career prosecutor with no public explanation. So what does this timeline show? that Epstein got help and special treatment and sometimes unlawful benefits from the very federal government that claimed to be investigating him. It happened under the Bush administration, with officials later promoted by Trump. The Trump DOJ only picked up the case in the first term after journalists reported those revelations. Epstein's unusual death met with total secrecy by the first Trump term, and the prosecutor who busted Epstein's co-conspirator ousted in the second term, while Trump and other officials made false, sometimes knowingly false statements about this public history. This is a damning account of President Trump's approach to this case in government. Now, this is a serious governing problem for President Trump and the DOJ and obviously the impacted victims. Even if we learn nothing else about this, it's an open scandal for this administration. And then there are the glaring and inconvenient facts that go back even further before Trump was in government, before the lengthy timeline we just saw, because as a
Now, this is the part where it starts to get real fun, because the cognitive dissonance has made it for years where anytime you bring up Epstein, you know, you'd always get the whole Clinton is in there and Bill Gates is in there. And then you're like, well, nobody hung out as much as Trump. And they're like, well, he kicked Trump out of his club because he found out he was a creep, which is the line that Stephen Chung always consistently uses. But this timeline does not say that. Not, by the way, the two reasons that they split was one over a real estate deal. Surprise, surprise, one tried to fuck the other one over. And the other one, as Trump admitted, Jeffrey Epstein was stealing underage spa workers from Mar-a-Lago. And my first question before any of that goes is, why the fuck are there underage spa workers at Mar-a-Lago?
Pavilion, Trump had a long relationship with Epstein, who had bought property near Mar-a-Lago, socializing with Trump, engaging in activities, and both men then referring to Epstein's sexual controversies. The two men partied together. They appeared in public and before cameras. This is footage from a Mar-a-Lago event in 1992. Epstein went to Trump's wedding in 1993. And while Trump famously likes his own jet with Trump branding, he found the time and reasons to fly on Epstein's private jet at least 7 times, per the New York Times. Trump photographed with both Epstein and Maxwell in 2000, again at Mar-a-Lago. And the Journal.
And according to Michael Wolff, who Hunter Biden just quoted, and now Melania is saying that she wants to sue Hunter Biden. And Hunter Biden's like, dude, all I did was just quote Michael Wolff. And Michael Wolff didn't take his statement back. Said that Melania was with Epstein when Trump met her, and there's a good chance that it was also on that plane. Like I said, you just got to look at Michael Wolff's writings. Hunter Biden brought it up and caused quite a bit of sore spot, it seems, because, you know, as they say, a hit dog will holler. Every time that they threaten to sue, do they just forget that discovery exists?
Reported about how Trump drew those bawdy sexual references in a birthday card for Epstein, citing, quote, wonderful secrets. Trump denies this and is suing the Journal over it. He now claims his Epstein friendship was shorter than reported, that they clashed over an employee Epstein had poached from Mar-a-Lago, while other accounts say Epstein was a Mar-a-Lago member until 2007, over a year after that original indictment we showed you. Trump breaking the vow to release more Epstein files, but he's also in them, according to recent Journal reporting. And as for Epstein?
Now, I wonder, once that information came to be, why it all of a sudden became a hoax. Just like saying that Russiagate was a hoax. But from what we just saw from the international diplomacy, all it did was just prove to us that it's real. I mean, Trump literally rolled out the red carpet, had our military on their knees, rolling out red carpet for a murderous dictator, and stood there clapping, waiting for him to show up. Like a second Tinder date or something. And then when Zelensky shows up, no red carpet, no standing there clapping, no anything. All he did was just prove us right. And I think what it is with this regime is you just have to give them time to prove themselves wrong. Because to be a liar, you got to be a good liar. And that means you have to keep all the stories straight. And that means that one person can't deviate. And the main deviation that we saw between Bondi and Patel/Bongino, instantly, that just rips a hole and shows that they're definitely covering something up.
He was secretive about any time that the two men might have spent with minors when pressed under oath.
You ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Legally, these social links alone are not evidence of a crime. They are evidence of a conflict of interest, the kind of link that requires a judge or prosecutor to recuse from a case. But Trump has been doing the opposite, commenting and intervening, his DOJ's actions on Epstein repeatedly putting secrecy over facts, politics over accountability, and, as we saw in the recent controversy, a special transfer and leniency for an actual sex trafficker.
Yo, not to mention clamping down DC because of the beatdown of Big Balls as a distraction from all this too. Those files must be really bad for this cover-up to be this incompetent and this in your face, and for them to still run with it. Like, we're going to forget about it just because they, just because they did a soft launch of martial law. You think we're going to forget about this? All it does is just make it that much more apparent.
Over justice for the victims. There has been a lot of talk about Epstein, and at the core, this is a case that matters so much to the many people, many victims whose lives were forever altered by Epstein and Maxwell. But you don't need even more Epstein documents, though people are pursuing them, or more facts to understand the raw outline of this case. Some of it predates Trump, with Bush-era prosecutors cutting a deal with a powerful person and cutting out the victims from even learning about it. But much of it involves Trump.
Much of it also involves Republicans, whether it was the Republican administration or Republican attorneys. What's just so funny is that MAGA always has all these spun up QAnon style theories saying that it's Democrats that were doing all this. I hate to say it, but evidence is evidence is evidence. All of the people that assisted Jeffrey Epstein were Republicans. Pedicon theory once more confirmed.
From the personal social links to a government that he is overseeing, that after all of the talk and claims for justice and demands for truth in this sex trafficking case, the big thing the Trump administration has done is continue the secrecy, continue to cut the victims out, and, most astoundingly, help and serve an Epstein sex trafficking co-conspirator over truth or justice for the victims. Our two expert guests are on hand to respond to our new timeline. We walk through.
I'll let you watch the rest of that little segment on your own. But the facts don't lie. It goes all the way back to Bush. The pedocons were covering up for pedocons. Like I said, one of the things that still really blows my mind about all of it is that Howard Lutnick literally lived right beside Jeffrey Epstein. That is just insanity to me. Because Howard Lutnick is in charge of so much in the U.S. government right now. If this is a blackmailing operation, it's from the top down. There's no two ways about it. Absolutely ridiculous, I'm telling you. It's been really, really great getting to hang out with everybody. We're going to look at one more clip, and then we're going to get on down the road. But if you're not familiar with Dark Brandon is a cartoon, and it's one of the most informative channels that I can think, because they use animation in the same way to make reactions about pertinent topics in the same way that we do here at ViperTV. And oh man. If it's not this whole pedocon thing when it comes to Republicans, it's the very, very, very blatant racism. And this Dark Brandon channel does a great job of pointing this out. Check it out, I'll show you.
Hope you're doing well today. You know, the internet is a strange place and only getting stranger. Today we're going to be looking at a young woman who is pushing the Great Replacement theory and other white nationalist ideas. And when you listen closely to arguments like these, they could sound like common sense complaints about culture, integration, or value. But underneath the surface, there's a script, one that's been rehearsed for decades in white nationalist spaces. It starts by rewriting history, settlers as heroes, immigrants as threats, and colonialism as a gift. Then it narrows what real America means: Christian, Western, unchanging. Finally, it warns that if those boundaries aren't protected, America itself will vanish. And that's not casual patriotism.
That's that whole 14-word shit. And if you don't know what that means, just go ahead and Google it. I was dying because The Onion has been smashing it lately with their content. And one of their article headlines was, Stephen Miller, his heart swells with joy as his child learns his first 14 words.
It's the framework of the Great Replacement theory, one of the most dangerous and widespread conspiracy narratives in the world today. It's designed to make diversity feel like destruction, to paint neighbors as invaders, and to turn natural cultural change into existential crisis.
Which is kind of terrifying right now, because I live in Germany. I'm observing America from afar. I live in Germany, and the AfD, which is, for lack of better words, it's the new Nazi party, and a lot of them are from the original. At least some of the leaders that are probably on their deathbeds. But they're gaining in radical popularity too, just using the same idea of being like, it's immigrants that are taking over everything, because if there's one thing that disaffected male youth are easily influenced by, it's the whole culture war thing and the idea of becoming irrelevant. And you'd think that, you know, Germany learned from their first time around, but it lets you know that there's always going to be a segment of the population who's going to just be scared of anything that is progress or might tip the apple cart as far as how society functions in an extremely traditional manner. And it's really, really disturbing how we're at this turning point in the world where, because mediocre dudes can't get laid, we get to have fascism. It's great, really.
So wild how anytime it's somebody talking about preserving America, there's always somebody like, we're a nation of immigrants. And we weren't founded on immigrants, we were founded on settlers. Immigrants come to a land that's already established. Then they go ahead and pull the whole, Europeans stole land from the natives. Newsflash, every country's history was built on conquered land. Borders have changed for thousands of years.
So she does a few different things at once here. By saying we weren't founded on immigrants, we were founded on settlers. What she's doing is drawing a sharp line between white Europeans, the settlers, and everyone else who came later. And this isn't just semantics. It's a way of claiming that America's real identity belongs to Europeans alone. It denies the reality that from the very beginning, America was a multi-ethnic and multicultural place. For example, enslaved Africans were here before the Pilgrims even landed at Plymouth. Chinese laborers built railroads in the 1800s. And Irish and Italian immigrants transformed cities. Also, did you notice how she says settlers? And that's to replace the word colonizers. It sounds friendly, like homesteaders making a home, rather than people violently taking land that wasn't theirs. And then saying immigrants come to a land that's already established rewrites history to erase the fact that indigenous societies had already established nations here. In fact, many had cities larger than European ones in the same period. By brushing off Europeans stolen from the natives with a shrug, every country was built on conquered land, she's trying to excuse genocide as normal, designed to silence indigenous voices. But the entire framing is rooted.
It's in the same way. Have you ever seen any time that you actually start to have a discussion about chattel slavery, where the All Lives Matter crowd will instantly point out, well, the Irish were slaves too. And yes, they were indentured servants, and they also did receive a great amount of prejudice, but, so did Italians. So to this day of Spanish people, Latin communities in general are experiencing levels of persecution probably not seen since Eisenhower. He had the internment camps before that, but also Eisenhower. There was the Decade of Deceit. Go ahead and look that up, because there was a gigantic remigration plan that happened, and the operation of it as an extremely disturbing slur. So I won't be saying it on my stream, but Google is your friend.
In white nationalist paranoia that America must be preserved as fundamentally European. And this is the groundwork of the Great Replacement theory, which says demographic change, immigration, intermarriage, non-white influence equals the destruction of real America. That's why she's allergic to the phrase nation of immigrants. It undermines the narrative of a pure original America.
This, whether you like it or not, is a Christian country.
Then again, with this statement, it looks simple, but it's loaded with white nationalist framing.
Well, also, let's go ahead and point out that the First Amendment says that should make no law establishing religion. So, once more, fascists just ignore the Constitution, but they love that Second Amendment, and they'll use the first part of the First Amendment when it comes to freedom of speech for them to spout bigotry. But then when you point out the First Amendment also says that we are not a Christian theocratic nation, then all of a sudden the sophistry begins.
And here's why. By declaring America a Christian country, this is drawing a boundary line. It's not just about religion, it's about tying Americanness to whiteness. In white nationalist rhetoric, Christian is a cultural shorthand for European heritage, making sure everyone else is second class.
Same with that Christ is King bullshit.
The United States was deliberately not founded as a Christian nation. The Constitution explicitly forbids an official religion, which is part of the First Amendment and the Establishment Clause. Many founding fathers were deists, skeptics, or openly critical of organized religion. And while Christian influence is undeniable in American culture, pluralism and religious freedom were foundational principles. To say otherwise is rewriting history to justify exclusion. The underlying message.
It's kind of funny that she just, said the thing about rewriting history, because that's happening with the Smithsonian as we speak. Yesterday, the regime said that we're focusing too much on the bad parts of slavery and not the good parts of America. And I understand that it's dogma that bigots have to gaslight their way out of anything that might make them seem like they're the baddies. But this is not the way to do it, to try to literally alter history inside of the Smithsonian. I mean, it's a typical dictator move, but I know there's a portion of the voting base that votes right wing that is all about just changing everything to suit their narrative. But there are also people who live in reality still. And when you can see something this blatant, it's obviously for a reason. The Fashkant original, and that's the reason.
Messages: America is supposed to be Christian, and if it becomes less Christian, it stops being America. This is exactly how great replacement logic works. Demographic change, whether religious or racial, is framed as existential decline. Fear-mongering about Muslims, atheists, and other non-Christians taking over the culture mirrors the paranoia about immigration and birth rates in white nationalist circles.
The law is the moral framework and the culture. And here's the irony. They scream about dismantling colonialism while living off of every single benefit that it created. Your phone, your electricity, your modern medicine, all came from the same Western Christian civilization that you pretend to hate.
So here we see her trying to recast colonialism as benevolence and position Western Christian civilization as the sole source of modern progress. So let's dig into this. She says, you benefit from colonialism, so stop criticizing it. And this is a classic colonialist defense, portraying violent conquest, slavery, and genocide as justified because they supposedly produce civilization. It erases the suffering of colonized peoples by reducing...
Well, to fascists, the ability to either get power or get your narrative out there, the ends justify the means. And especially when it comes to rewriting history. Like I said, once more, why have any narrative that makes you feel bad for having the beliefs that you have when you can just literally go out there and spout white nationalist talking points and probably get money for it?
Their history to a stepping stone for Western progress. So by crediting everything, modern phones, electricity, medicine, to Western Christian civilization, she elevates whiteness and Christianity as the pinnacle of human achievement. And this is a white supremacist narrative that non-European societies contributed nothing of value, and thus should be grateful to the West. It sets up this great replacement fear. If non-Western, non-Christian people become the majority, civilization itself will collapse.
You don't have to be Christian to live here. But if you want America to stay America, you can't rip the values that it was based on.
So this sounds like a compromise on the surface. You don't have to be Christian, but it's actually a conditional belonging statement. Here's what's going on. She's saying you can live here, but only if you submit to our values. So this sets up a hierarchy. Real Americans, Christian, Eurocentric, white-coded values versus tolerated outsiders who must conform. So that's not pluralism. That's assimilation on someone else's terms. And you notice how values are left vague in white nationalist rhetoric as American values, but the actual founding values, religious freedom, equality before the law, self-government, contradict the idea that one culture or religion owns the nation. So when they say keep the values, what they really mean is keep white Christian dominance intact. And the phrase, "if you want America to stay America," is the beating heart of the Great Replacement paranoia. It implies that demographic change equals national destruction, which translates to if non-Christian immigrants or people of color bring their own cultures into public life.
Well, also don't forget about the fact that there's a lot of mediocre motherfuckers out there who their white skin, that's the only thing they got going for them. They're not talented, they're not smart, they're not creative, they're gross, they're disgusting. But they think that they have some level of superiority over other people just over the fact that they were born with the color skin that they have. So it's a prize to them. So they'll tell whatever lies and use whatever stupid dog whistles it takes in order for them to consider themselves to, I don't know, always be victims of something. Because go ahead and show me a conservative podcast or a conservative talk show where they're not the fucking victims of something.
America stops being real America. That framing turns diversity into an existential threat.
And let me make this very clear, immigration itself isn't the problem. America has always had it. The difference is now people are not assimilating. Before they learned English, they adapted to the culture, adopted values, and now we are told that America should change for them.
And so what we saw there was her pretending to be moderate, right? Immigration isn't the problem, but then flips to familiar assimilation panic. She sets up a false dichotomy. Good immigrants of the past who assimilated versus bad immigrants now who allegedly don't. So this is a recycled narrative. In the 19th century, Irish and German immigrants were accused of refusing to assimilate. In the early 20th century, it was Italians and Eastern European Jews. And today it's often Latinos, Muslims, or Asians. Every generation of immigrants have been accused of this, and every generation eventually reshaped America anyway. The idea here is that immigration only works if the newcomers erase their culture and become indistinguishable from the dominant group. If they don't, America is changing for them, which is framed as unacceptable, even existentially dangerous. And that's the Great Replacement fear in action. Demographic change equals cultural death. But again, notice the hypocrisy. Past immigrant groups are celebrated now, but only after they've been absorbed and stripped of their difference. But when those groups were new, they were treated with the same hostility. And what she called...
It's so funny because the appropriation will still happen, though. Like, same thing happens here. There's Germans who are like, Germany for Germans only, and I only live by traditional German values, and then they eat doner kebab. It's the cherry picking of racism that's the most ridiculous thing, because the appropriation is just fine, and I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 words when it comes to that: MAGA rap.
Calls assimilation often meant forced erasure, changing names, abandoning languages, hiding traditions to avoid discrimination.
Bottom line, if you hate the values that this country was based on, why are you even here? Either you're for America, staying America, or you're part of the reason it won't.
And here we see this culmination of all the earlier talking points, a thinly veiled narrative that draws a hard line between real Americans and everyone else. She frames it as a choice: either agree with their version of American values or leave. This isn't about debate, growth, or pluralism. It's a purity test. The implication is clear. Immigrants, minorities, progressives, non-Christians, anyone who doesn't fit into the dominant mold are the reason why America won't survive. The phrase "America staying America" is the dead giveaway. It echoes the core paranoia of the Great Replacement. that if demographics or the culture shifts, real America disappears. It turns natural cultural evolution into an existential threat. So what we just heard is a pattern, not random complaints about culture, but a worldview. Each snippet builds on the last, layering together a story where real America is white, Christian, and unchanging. It dismisses indigenous genocide as ancient history, reframes settlers as the only true founders, and erases the global contributions that built modern life. It dresses colonialism up as a gift, warns against immigrants who want to assimilate, and ends with an ultimatum: conform to our version America or leave. That's the architecture of the Great Replacement theory in plain language. It's a story designed to turn demographic change into existential threat, to make diversity feel like destruction, and to cast people who don't fit into the mold as the enemy within. It doesn't protect values, it weaponizes them. It doesn't preserve history, it rewrites it. But history tells a different story. America has never been one fixed identity. It has always been built through conflict, change, and inclusion, often messy, often resisted, but always real.
America has also been shaped through, I'm going to call it civil resistance, riots. How do you think civil rights came to be? How do you think the internment camps ended? People can only take so much injustice before they realize that if we continue putting up with this, this isn't a country I want to live in. This isn't how I choose to spend my heartbeats that I've been given. We only get so much. And the idea of live free or die is a real thing, especially in America, an extremely armed country who, I don't know, it seemed like the people who were the most enthusiastic about that Second Amendment were actually just using it as a disguise so that they could finally turn their bigotry, inwards and actually become ICE agents as opposed to defenders of freedom.
So when someone says, if you want America to stay America, the truth is, America has only ever stayed America by becoming something bigger than it was before. And that's the real story. And it's one worth defending.
That's right. So be loud, be proud, call it out, keep mocking, keep pressing, because it's working. I promise you. I mean, if it wasn't working, we wouldn't have Fox News melting down over just seeing the replication of what they've boosted for years and years and years. A hit dog will holler. It's been great getting to hang out with everybody today for ViperTV Live. Hopefully we covered some things that maybe shed a light on something you didn't know about prior. Maybe you can share this with people who just refuse to see facts. I'm sure they'll immediately shut it down because there's footage from MSNBC in there. But the only reason I brought it up is because those are facts that don't lie. And facts don't care about feelings. But until tomorrow, great seeing everybody. So, later, skaters.
Go to skipfriesjr.net for podcasts.
Record player that I could just spin records all the time.
I run into the bathroom and I'm covered in blood. Like I had put my tooth through my bottom lip.
For music. For gaming and pro-liberty game rants. That's skipfriesjr.net.